This afternoon, I present my dissertation titled Determinants of Microenterprise Success in the Urban Informal Sector of Addis Ababa. First, I will give a contextual background of the research, followed by the research question and objective of the research. Then I will present the methodology and findings. And finally, end the presentation with policy implication of the research and its limitations. As a lecturer in urban economics in the Ethiopian Civil Service University in Addis Ababa, I was impressed by the progress being made by some immigrants coming from the rural area. This aroused my interest on this sector. And the interest was, this aroused my interest to find out why some are successful while others are not. And this initiated my research on the determinants of microenterprise success. Although the level of urbanization is still low, Ethiopia is urbanizing at a fast rate, and rural to urban migration is significant. Population growth rate of the country is 2.7%, and urbanization is growing at about 4%. Rural to urban migrants usually join the urban informal sector, whereby they get adapted to such a life and start small mundane businesses like shoe shining, street vending, among others. And it is from this sector where competent businessmen and women emerge owning successful enterprises. Some migrants move through the success ladder while others stay mired in the informal sector. This inevitably leads to an inquiry into what really determines success in the urban informal sector of Addis Ababa. Understanding small business success requires analysis from various dimensions, since success is a complex process that comes because of a number of factors difficult to describe by a single dimension. This study aims to investigate business success using a multidimensional model. It emphasizes three dimensions: the individual, the business, and external factors, with emphasis on social networks and enabling business environments. Informality has been defined by firm size, and particularly size of employment, and deals with businesses employing fewer than 10 workers. Success has been defined based on employment growth, turnover growth, and profit growth. Relative growth, measured in percentage terms, is used as an independent variable. Annual average growth rate is computed based on a period of 28 months. Having given the contextual background, I now move on to the methodology where both qualitative and quantitative data was used. A survey was conducted twice in a period of about 28 months. A multi-stage cluster sampling method was used to obtain a representative sample from city to sub-city, Kabale, enumerator areas, and to households, and then to establishments. The 2008 sample survey was used as a frame of reference to trace back to same respondents after about 2 years in 2010. The first round survey concerned about 1,000 respondents. The second round in 2010 traced previous respondents and posed similar questions, but added some entrepreneurship-related questions such as personality traits. The second round survey yielded a total of 286 previous respondents. The test for attrition bias was carried out using a logistical regression. The result shows that most variables are statistically insignificant. However, some variables, such as network size, are significant at 10% level. Thus, since it is hard to claim absence of systematic difference in characteristics between the stayers and the movers, the analysis of success in this study is conditional on survival. A conceptual framework was designed across the dimensions of the entrepreneur, the firm character, and the external factors. The study has used descriptive statistics such as frequencies as well as econometric tools. A quantile regression approach is used and compared with OLS method. quantile regression method is able to describe the entire conditional distribution of the dependent variable. This study has special interest in high growth and survivalist firms, and as a result, doesn't dismiss such firms as outliers. In addition, the quantile regression approach avoids the restrictive assumption that the error terms have constant variance. When this assumption is relaxed, it allows us to acknowledge firm heterogeneity and consider the possibility that estimated slope parameters vary at different quantiles of the conditional growth rate distribution. This brings me now to the results and discussions. The data on success indicators provides evidence that the distribution of all success indicators is skewed. Issues of multicollinearity omitted variable bias have been tested using Viv and Ramsey reset test respectively. The OLS regression methods, for the OLS regressions, the heteroscedasticity or non-constant variance problem was contained by using robust regressions. We have generally classified regression results into 4 categories: regression to the mean, the lower growth league, the median regression, and the upper growth category. Variables that are significant at 2 categories, 3 categories, and higher growth determinants are retained for further discussions, as these are assumed to be more important. The conceptual framework of the study set detailed hypotheses for each determinant of success. Accordingly, the study tested the following hypotheses, which I will briefly discuss. Hypothesis 1. Migration status leads to a higher probability of joining and operating in the informal sector, as migrants have no other alternatives in Addis Ababa. Among the 286 randomly selected respondents, only 32 operators were born in Addis, leaving the large majority to migrants. Moreover, more than 65% of the respondents reported that they joined the informal sector involuntarily. This hypothesis could have been tested empirically using logistics regressions had we interviewed both formal sector and informal sector operators in the sample. However, the focus group discussion and the descriptive analysis in Chapter 4 provides evidence that hypothesis 1 cannot be rejected. Hypothesis 2. Urban informal sector serves as a means of survival only in the short run. In the long run, some migrants run a successful business. The regression analysis have shown that migration status is positively associated with microenterprise success. Migrants performed better in creating jobs and profit growth, leading support to earlier findings in the descriptive part. Although migrants run a forced entrepreneurship initially, whereby they start operations for survival, as there are no alternatives, through time, the motives and performances change. Unlike natives who have supports from family and relatives, for migrants, their business is the only way out. The conclusion is that hypothesis 2 cannot be rejected. Hypothesis 3. Entrepreneurial character related to the owner has a significant impact on microenterprise success in Addis Ababa. The impact of personality traits on micro and small enterprise success in Ethiopia is found to be generally low. It seems that business confidence is embedded largely within the social network, thereby eroding the impact of personality traits. However, results of this finding should be taken with caution. The data on personality traits was available only for firms that were traced in the second survey, or survivors. This means that no much variation in personality traits is identified. This could be one possible reason why personality traits do not appear to have a significant bearing on success. There is evidence of a gender gap in microenterprise success. Gender was significant for average, lower growth, and medium firms in most regressions favoring male. There is also evidence in the study that schooling has a positive but weak effect on success. Only in the employment growth regression and for lower growth firms that schooling has been found significant. In fact, there is clear evidence in Addis Ababa that most of the successful operators are either elementary school graduates or high school dropouts. Ethnicity was also found to be a very important factor for success in Addis Ababa. The Gurage ethnic group showed a relatively better chance of succeeding in business compared to other ethnic groups. The possible explanation is that the Gurage could be better in utilizing social networks, which have also impacted their business success positively. This is true when, for example, larger wholesalers from Mercato provide small retailers of the same ethnic group capital or other inputs on concessionary terms. There is no legal contract nor any interest payment for the money or equipment borrowed. The smaller business is trusted by larger one. The overall conclusion is that hypothesis 3 cannot be rejected. Hypothesis 4, firm character would have a significant impact on microenterprise success. From the analysis, it appears that the systematic relationship between age and growth and size and growth holds, although the statistical significance is not so strong. The study has found that location is an important variable for success. Businesses with enough space and commercial area were found to be more successful than businesses in other locations. Evidence from the analysis shows that the service sector, followed by the retail trade sector, is doing better in employment creation, profit, and turnover compared to all other sectors. The manufacturing sector is at a success disadvantage compared to all other sectors except construction. The trend seems that nothing stops the leading role of service sector, putting a severe challenge on the growth and transformation plan that the country is implementing. Thus, hypothesis 4 cannot be rejected. Hypothesis 5. Informal social networks influence microenterprise success positively in Addis Ababa. A social network variable represented by ECOB dummy has strongly and positively influenced success. Maybe operators are using ECOB not only for rotating savings, but also for exchanging information and new opportunities which could help to boost up success. It could also be that membership in ECOB motivates operators to work hard as they have to pay their share weekly. The study has found out that entrepreneurial orientation has an impact on success indirectly. The quantile regression approach revealed that in most cases, high growth firms are characterized by a better score for entrepreneurial orientation coupled with a better network size. Thus, network size alone doesn't lead to success unless firms possess a good strategic decision making. The fifth hypothesis thus cannot be rejected. Hypothesis 6. Enabling environments do have little impacts on microenterprise success in Addis Ababa. It was found that neither government-driven supports nor business environments have a positive impact on success. Exception is subcontracting for employment growth, indicator of success. It could be that lack of sustainable support strategies has hampered the effect of interventions. It could also be that interventions do not recognize diversity within the microenterprise success. The conclusion is that this hypothesis cannot be rejected. Finally, coming to the end of my presentation, I would like to mention that the study had some implications for policy on cities and the informal sector in general. It shows that cities could serve as engines of economic growth when the rural sector is in a dire situation. Government needs to tolerate informal sector activity as it is a sign of dismal living in rural areas and a way of sharing benefits of urban growth. Cities require more investments to boost their absorptive capacities in terms of hosting unemployed and informal sector operators. Investment in infrastructure and services would intensify the capacity and profitability of not only large and medium firms, but also of small and micro enterprises. Formality should be made a demand-driven so that dynamic and growth-oriented firms would be eager to join the mainstream economy. At the same time, the study has its limitations. The basic difficulty of studying such dynamics is the problem of tracing microenterprises in the urban informal sector over time. This demands the development of geographic information system across cities. Future research is needed by calculating growth over a longer period so that the dynamics of microenterprise success can be further analyzed in greater depth. Although multidimensional, this study is not exhaustive in understanding determinants of success. The structure and macroeconomic environment of the economy would have an impact on microenterprise success. Future research that includes these macroeconomic performance indicators as determinants of success is needed. Last but not least, findings of this study are based on firms that have survived in both data periods. Although not so strong, it seems that some systematic relationship exists between firms that were traced and firms that exited the first data set, making findings conditional on survival. Future research that systematically obtains data on droppers and analyzing determinants of survival in business as an indicator of success is needed. Thank you.